Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Sally. Um, Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but I was trying to remember how to use all this stuff because I haven't done one of these for a while. So I was getting in a bit of a muddle, but I think I'm on now, and I'm just going to check that by going onto the other page. Yeah, that looks like it. And if anyone can hear me, maybe you'll send me a message so that I know that that's all working, but I think it looks like it is. Thank you so much for joining. It feels like it's quite important to talk about what's going on at the moment now in this time frame. Oh, hello, Catherine. That's really nice to see you there in the little chat box. I'm just trying to remember how to use all of this. I've got so many little windows open. I'll probably get used to it in a minute. Okay, hopefully that's all right. Someone will tell me if it's not working. um, yeah, this date today being the 22nd of the second month, February, and the year is a 2 year as well, because 2018 218 adds up to 11, which reduces to 2. So it's I've been having this feeling for a few weeks to do something today, and just now I remembered that 4 years ago on the 22nd of February, that was the first kind of um, live transmission. Not It wasn't on video, but that a light transmission that I did with Helen Quayle, and I was told it was a truth transmission, and I asked her if she would do it with me, and I've just remembered that just now. So that was 4 years ago today, 2014, which that's just, I can't believe that that's 4 years ago. That's just gone so fast, and so much has happened since then, and that led on to huge things which I would never have foreseen. And when I remember asking her and feeling really sort of hesitant to like ask someone else to do this really weird thing with me, which I had this idea, obviously was given from my higher self. um anyway, there's a lot to, that I can talk about that's happened in between, but today I think what they wanted me to do is to talk about the energies now, which are really challenging for most people. I believe that everyone is really being challenged at the moment. Um, I don't actually know anyone who's sailing through this energetic window. Um, One of the things which has been coming up like time and time and time again, I ended up writing about yesterday because people have been saying, why am I feeling anxious? And my own daughter's having that happening, and things, people that haven't had it before, like, where's it suddenly come from? This kind of anxiety, it's like an unexplained anxiety, which doesn't seem to relate to a specific thing that's going on in your life, but it seems to just be this kind of and it's like an energetic feeling. And so I wrote about that yesterday, and you're very welcome to read. It's on my website, which is at www.sallyphillipshealing.co.uk. That's Phillips with two L's. And yeah, I wrote in there about how what I believe to be happening, and different bits of the information will resonate with different ones of you, because no one knows everything in the human side that we're in. There isn't anyone who knows everything, and so I don't claim to know everything. I know that I don't, and I'm at where I'm at, finding things out. But the thing is, I'm really being pushed to share what I do understand and what I'm feeling at the moment, even though it might not be comfortable. And I actually got a bit nervous just before the coming on live, thinking, "Oh, what am I going to say?" Um, because it's about sort of putting ourselves out there to support others, and we don't want to do it wrong, and we don't want to, there's still a part of me that sort of has obviously programming that says you can't do that, and people are going to laugh, and but actually none of that matters. What's really important is that the people who need to hear the message that we've each got, and we've each got our own unique role and our own unique take and information and skills to share on what's happening at the moment. And so it's just really important that we step forward, and it's not a kind of glamorous time. It's not a sort of like, look at me, you can be like this. That isn't what it's about at all. It's kind of like, here we are. We've been, it's almost like we've all been reduced to this like sort of level playing field. And like, how do we get through it, really? That's how it feels. I mean, I'd be really interested if anyone listening would be able to say, oh, well, I'm fine, actually. I'm sort of coping really well, and everything's really working for me, and I'm manifesting what I want, and I'm, sort of sailing through, and because actually what I'm hearing from people is everyone's exhausted. Some people are being kept awake all night with the vibrations, and I get this most nights. In fact, the last 2 nights I've slept through, but about a whole week before that, I was vibrating from about 2 till 5 a.m, just wide awake and vibrating really strongly, which must be quite frightening if you've only just woken up to this whole ascension, for want of calling it something to call it, really. I know some people don't like that word, but what's happening is our energies are raising, and our vibrations are raising. So that is what's happening. It's not it's not airy fairy. The vibrations are increasing, and if you've only just woken up, then to be woken up in the night with a kind of electric current going through your body, and to be lying there sort of sweating and pulsating in this kind of wide awake state, possibly with the anxiety going on as well, I can imagine that must be extremely frightening. So I've really been pushed to come on here today and to like try and support and to like let you know that you're not going mad. I mean, I really feel for people who haven't got links with any of this network, because if you're sort of out there in the so-called normal world, I can imagine people must be going to the doctors, trying to get tranquilizers, trying to find out what this vibrating thing is that's going on. And personally, I didn't actually feel the vibrating till about 2008, when I was about 20 years into my journey of ascension, or whatever you want to call this, waking up, really. I was probably nearly 20 years in when I went on a reconnective healing weekend, and that was the first time I'd felt the vibrating. And then after that, I gradually noticed that every time I was in a sort of meditation situation, and particularly in groups, it was just coming through really strong, and now it's there all the time. I can't sort of not be feeling it. And today, what I'd like to say as well is that I've been told by people and by my higher self, guides, whatever you want to call that, that the frequencies, the light frequencies, the vibration frequencies come through my voice, and not just mine, but other people's voices as well. So while you're listening to this, what would be really good, if you can, I know people, some people are at work or doing other things, but if you can lie down, what would be really good, you don't need to watch me. If you could lie down and listen, and you don't even need to listen to the words, because what seems to happen is that the frequencies which come through, I don't have any control over this. So they told me to do this, and they're putting it through now. It's very subtle. This isn't my normal sort of thrumming. This is very light and very gentle. I don't actually need to stop talking, it's coming anyway, but sometimes I just stop to kind of feel it for a minute, and then yeah, it's very beautiful, very light, very beautiful. So this energy that's coming through now is from source. It's been stepped down through. Okay, they're saying I don't need to explain the whole thing because there's a lot of information about that elsewhere. It's being stepped down, basically. And brought to Earth. It comes into Earth through the portal, which is our sun, and comes into the human body. Obviously, first of all, the sort of auric field, it doesn't come straight into the body, it's like into the auric field and then into the body, coming in through the crown chakra and in down the spinal column, which is the chakra column, our kind of energetic wiring into our body. I don't quite understand it, but the difference when you open yourselves up to receiving it sort of through another person, like now coming through me, it's not as harsh. Okay, it's not as harsh, and it's actually easier to digest because I've been using the energy and clearing myself and kind of working on different things for, like I said, sort of 25 years. And that doesn't mean I'm perfect, and I haven't cleared everything. And I don't think anyone who's in a human body ever will. But can come through more gently for people who might be finding the energy direct from through our sun from source, too strong. There's somebody called Judy Satori who's been doing a lot of work with this recently, well, for a long time actually as well, but the work she's doing now is really interesting, and I really relate to that. She's talking about the 22 galaxies which we're part of, and how they make a diamond shape, and the energy's coming from the center. Or in fact, very recently, she actually said they were saying it was coming from the 22nd galaxy within the diamond. So I don't really know all about that in a kind of I'm not sure, because I haven't been told by my higher selves and my guides about that. But when I listen to her talking about that, it makes sense. And 22 has always been very important for me. And I first realised on the 22nd of December 2013 that was 22 was a thing that I needed to sort of pay attention to. And since then, it's been coming through a lot. And I know other people have been talking about 20. Well, we know 22 is a master number, which means it's a kind of builder number of creation. And I think as Earth dwellers, we can use that as a building block. The twos also, to me, they mean truth, and that was how it first started 4 years ago. This 22nd of February was a truth transmission, and I know that there's a lot of people on Earth at the moment waking up to all the things that go on, which haven't been good for humanity. Things that we thought were working for our greater good, and actually, they haven't all been working for us. And that's a whole other subject that I could talk about for weeks. The school system, the health system. So we don't really want to go into that, because that's a frequency of a lower frequency. And today, it's really important that we can support people who are waking up. And I know those of you who are watching have probably been on this journey for a long time, like me. So you understand this, and what they're saying is that we need to be the rocks of stability now for the other people. It's almost like we're in the water, and we've kind of learnt to swim, and then other people are being thrown in, but they don't know how to swim yet, and we're here already in the water, kind of treading water, and we're not keeping our heads up all the time, but we're kind of bobbing along and kind of making, what's the word, like we're on a kind of equilibrium. And then people are going to get thrown in, and they're going to gravitate towards us because we've got our head above the water, and they don't want to go under. So they're going to swim over or thrash over and grab onto us. And when people grab onto you, that's a really interesting thing, which has been happening to me for a little while. It's really important to stay grounded. And grounding's really easy. It doesn't have to be a difficult thing. The best way you can do it is to just stand on the grass. That's the absolute best way, or on the beach. Even with feet in the sea is like doubly brilliant, because you've got the salt water, and that really helps. You've got the negative ions at the seaside, and and you've got your bare feet exchanging electrons with the earth, and the earth wants us to connect with her now. So that feels she'll help us be stable. But if we can't do that, it's really important to visualize doing it, or visualize growing roots down into the center of the earth and anchoring in to the center of the earth. I can see Widad on there. Hello, Widad. It's nice to see you. Okay. So if you'd like to settle, if you're able to relax, but if you're not, that's fine, because these energies will just they'll just be ready when you can. Like tonight, when you lie down, they'll be ready to support you and assist you. And I'm just going to tune in, and then there'll probably be a pause while while the frequencies come through, and I might be guided to say things, but let's just see. So what I'm being guided to say to you all is that although you're in a human body and your physical life, your day-to-day life here on earth is challenging and so physical. It just feels so physical at the moment, putting one foot in front of the other. You're actually not this physical body. You're many, 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 many great beings all rolled into your physical body. So on some levels, you're one being. That's at the source level. We're all one, but we're all the same. We're all one being. As we step down from that, there's various dimensional light beings which we're descended from, in the sense of our energy's been descended down through a sort of line of, or a channel of beings. So each of those, if you think about Russian dolls and think of them, maybe think of them all out, but like on top of each other. So the biggest one at the top, and then the smallest one is you. And there's much more than you would get in a set of Russian dolls. And the biggest one would be oneness. And then there's all these beings, greater aspects of self that we've descended down into these physical bodies through. This explains why some people relate to certain ascended masters, certain archangels. There's many names for the higher aspects of self, and there's no wrong or right way of looking at it. There's many ways of looking at it, and they're all helpful. So what's important is that we don't start thinking, well, that way must be right, therefore that way must be wrong, because actually there's so many different frequencies of the truth that we can understand the truth in a human body, and then we can understand it maybe in our 6th dimensional light body, and we can understand it differently again in our 11th dimensional light body. So what they're doing today, when I say they, I use they because, having been trained by Dolores Cannon, um, that is what she calls the higher aspects of self, and I find that a really easy way to talk about them, because then I'm not talking about a specific higher self or a specific part of my higher self. Or and I don't believe that guides are outside of me. They're part of me. It's part of this kind of line up to source, which isn't really up at all. Obviously, that's just our way of making sense of it. Um, but yeah, what they're saying is it's it's important for us to be. They want to give us strength now to get through this, and it's important for us to be strong, but not in the sense that we look like we're coping and then we're not actually. So, like, to admit that we, like, being vulnerable is a way of being strong. It's an aspect of strength, and it's an important it's an important way to be when we're in this situation. And this is the now, which a lot of us have been sort of working towards and waiting for, because it's this really turbulent time that we we've sort of come here to help with those of us that have been healing practitioners and finding things out and learning for a long time. Whatever you do, whether you run classes or groups, and or write books, or none of that, whatever you do, you're in a place where you're stepping down frequencies for the people who come. And even if you're working in an insurance office, that's what you're doing. You're stepping down frequencies for the other people there, and spreading them more gently for those people. Like I said earlier, the energy from source is too strong for us, and it well, for many people, myself included. In fact, that's what leads to this kind of I call it a light worker's hangover. And that's another question. There's all sorts of people asking me questions at the moment, and I haven't had time to respond and write articles for all of the questions, but I really want to, because I think it's really important. But somebody last week said, why did I have the most dreadful headache on Thursday morning after the Wednesday night healing transmissions? You would think that it would be the other way around. You would wake up clear headed. But that's what I call a light worker's hangover. And I started experiencing that in 2013. I started noticing it because I was running a sort of light circle type group, and I found I always had a headache that started on the way home, which didn't make sense. And so it took me quite a while to work that out. And I know that at the moment, a lot of people are suffering with headaches, migraines, and lots of other symptoms. But the thing that I call the light worker's hangover, if I could explain it briefly, it kind of links with that anxiety article I did yesterday, because it's also to do with the cells in the body tipping out the gunk. That's what the cells in our body, which hold the memories of all the past life traumas that we've been through to get to this point in this human body, and all the other junk that we've ingested in this lifetime. They just want to throw it out now, because the energy is so strong that it's kind of prompting this massive detox of humanity, detox of ideas, detox of physical body, everything. And in order to hold a higher consciousness, which is what's happening, the cells of the body need to be clear, and they're actually being replaced with light gradually. From being dark and murky and full of war memories and a lot of emotional um, sort of scarring and trauma, they're now being replaced gradually with light. And when you detox, you will know this, that when you do a detox, when you sort of eat fruit and vegetables for a few days instead of processed foods, your body will go into a kind of healing crisis. And that's the first sign, is a headache. That's what you get. Because the junk is being tipped out into the bloodstream, and then it'll travel around the body, and it's like a hangover. It's like the morning after when you've had too much alcohol, because it's trying to get back out of the body, and it's making it, your head sort of feels acidic. So that's what I believe this Lightworker's hangover is. So, and I think we can help with that. We can help our bodies with that, with the grounding, and with obviously drinking lots of water, because that'll flush out the toxicity, which is the same when you take a physical sort of detox time out, and you do that, you have to drink lots of water. Well, this is the same now. It's the same thing. We need to drink loads, and if you can squeeze lemon into it, that's even better, because that alkalizes the water. So there's many self-care techniques that we can use to look after ourselves, and that's what we're being asked to do now, to really take care of these physical bodies, because although we're on this ascension path and we've got kind of a craving to kind of go faster and go higher and get to the next level of ascension, and when we get there it'll all be fine, there is a bit of a feeling of that. That's how it feels, that oh, okay, when's it going to happen, and then we'll all be okay. But actually what we're forgetting there is that the human body is coming with us this time. So it's not like we're going into a cave and we're going to shed our body and then zip up in a column of light, and then be in another dimension. This time the body goes with us and becomes the light body. And the actual process of physically dismantling the human body in order to replace it with the light body is painful, and it's uncomfortable. We've got to sort of function on a kind of human level while that body is disintegrating. And I know some people who have done it faster than others, and I'm one of the people who's been doing it really slowly for a very long time, and I'm still having, Lightworker's hangover. I'm still having the headaches and the not being able to wake up in the morning. That kind of, like, some people call that chronic fatigue. I don't use labels for disease because I don't. That isn't how I work. But I'm aware that across here it feels there's pressure and it feels acidic, and I know that means drink more water and look after yourself. And when we take responsibility for ourselves, and if we can get out of that pattern of, oh, what's wrong with me? Let me look it up. Now, what do I need to do for that? I mean, that's helpful in some ways. That is helpful to look things up sometimes, and to think, oh, well, I could have a homeopathic remedy that would help ease that, and that's useful. So we've all got lots of tools like that we use. But if we can avoid the kind of labels for disease which the medical establishment like to use, then we'll be able to move through those symptoms much more smoothly, much more easily, because we haven't actually owned that we've got a thing. What we've actually got is a body which is desperately trying to become a light body. It's desperately shedding that that old stuff. So I'd like to thank you for being on the earth at this time, because it's an incredibly hard, difficult role, and it is getting easier. It is getting lighter. Things are changing. There's all sorts of changes that start off being small ones, and then one day you look and things have changed. And one thing in my neighbourhood, which might sound so small to be not worth mentioning, but it meant a lot to me. For years and years and years and years, I've been wanting to recycle plastic, not just plastic bottles, but all types of plastic. And I've, spent a long time like trying to find out how you do it, and I've drawn blanks all the time. And something like that, you would have thought, oh, you must be able to do that if you bothered to find out. Well, I couldn't, and I ended up in more recent years, I've been driving my plastic to West Sussex, because I live in Hampshire and my parents live in West Sussex, and they've had plastic recycling for a while. And I know it's a silly thing to talk about, really, but it is important, because Mother Earth wants us to look after her, and our consciousness is that we want to look after her. And this year, one of the things which startled me, which happened probably in about the second week of the year, I'm not sure exactly, it was in January, suddenly I found that our local council was doing plastic recycling. So it might sound like insignificant, because that's like, oh, well, so what? What sort of difference does that make to your life? But actually, I stopped and thought, gosh, like we are going up through the consciousness. We are learning, we are improving, and the changes are happening. And that's, for me, that was a big change, that I could see, to be able to do something more for Mother Earth. And it's even better if we don't use the plastic in the first place, obviously. I try not to, but that's just a thing. And I related another thing that happened, which I was really amazed about, just before Christmas. I related this when we had a solstice gathering in Southampton, where I live, with my friends Paul Dobry Carey and Tim Wilde and Jackie White, and I related this thing that had just happened, which, it's like they're calling it the Mandela effect, aren't they? When you can't, the thing wasn't there and then it was there. You've kind of jumped timelines. And what it was my daughter's at sixth form college, and she had her holiday dates, set in stone, because they always do at those places, and it's run by the local authority, and you don't ever expect to have any different days offered, And suddenly they were offering the himself was he sent an email out to all the parents about 2 weeks before Christmas saying, I've decided that they can have 2 extra days after Christmas. I don't think they've been given long enough. And he just took it upon himself, which I've never heard of before, to add 2 days onto their holiday, which gave them up until the following weekend. So they didn't have to go back until sort of a week after New Year, which really made a lot of difference, and I was staggered, because that's like the new earth to me, someone taking it upon themselves to kind of step out of a system that's ingrained, where everyone thinks you have to do it like this, and it's because it's always like that, and that's what you get, sort of thing. And I think that's going to be happening now. There's some huge energies going through. My picture's just broken up. I wonder what's going on there. That means something's happening. Someone just came in then, that my face just changed into a sort of, I don't know what, type of alien. Okay. So maybe that's a cue to just sit for a minute and then finish up. They're telling me to do more of these because there's quite a lot of important information, but not just information through my mouth, but um, coded information that they want to share. So if you'd like to picture yourself inside a beautiful pyramid of white light, amazingly beautiful, glowing, crystalline white pyramid. This is your high frequency portal to your higher versions of you. And if you'd like to step in here whenever you'd like higher guidance, we would be more than happy to assist. This is your healing chamber where all things are possible. Step in here and come in to your heart. Come into your heart space. This is where peace lies. As you feel yourself in your heart space, however you'd like to see that, you could picture a little version of you inside your heart, the center, inside the heart chakra center. Or just go in there, just dive in there, however it feels for you. And it's here that you will find your way forwards. It's not out there. This is the true way back to self, back to source. You all have many, many techniques to assist you into this space. You don't need anyone outside of you to make it happen. Just come in here They're showing me a golden rope, which is very easy to climb. So from in here, when you're in here, a golden rope appears, and it's like you become light, you become weightless, and you can climb this golden rope, this golden cord, up through the higher aspects of self, through your higher selves, to a lighter place. A lighter reality. It's a bit like going up in a sort of lift, because if you want, you can stop and get out. You will see your physical world differently wherever you get out. So today, just climb to a comfortable place and stop for a breather. And when you come back to your earthly reality in your physical body, you may find that certain aspects have already changed, because you've become a different version of you. These higher versions of you are waiting here patiently until you are ready. To join us. Thank you. We love you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you're interested in joining up physically, there's going to be a group for the spring equinox, which I'm organising in Hampshire, UK. And the details about that are on my website, which is at www.sallyphillipshealing.co.uk. And I'm also on Facebook, Sally Sherrin. And I'd be honoured to have your presence either physically at the event, which is in Romsey at a lovely place called Wisdom House, or by distance. And I'm going to be on a live distance call like this one the day after the equinox. The equinox is Tuesday the 20th of March in the UK, And so on Wednesday, the 21st, which is going to be a 3-3 day, 21-3, I'm going to do one of these kinds of calls, although it'll be a bit different, at 12 noon. So that'll be a 3-3-3. And those of you who know me, you already know what that means to me. It's about Christ consciousness, and no doubt there'll be things from the equinox and from the time from now till then that will have come up. So there'll be a lot for that time, and there's information on my website at the bottom of the article about the spring equinox gathering to register for the distance one on Wednesday the 21st, which might not be on YouTube. I might do a different format, see how many people want to come and whether we can do some group participation. But it's lovely to see you all, and I've just seen Alicia. Thank you, Alicia, for watching. It's lovely to see you. And thank you everyone who I already know and everyone who I don't know for joining here. And I'd be interested to hear any feedback that you may have from going into that heart space, and feel free to do it again in your own way or by listening again, because that felt quite important, and I haven't seen that golden rope before, so that was funny that they showed me that. It was very different to what I've done before. So happy 22, and I hope you manifest your desires and step out into the reality you choose with lots of love. Until next time. Thank you. Goodbye.